Hey everyone, it's me, Cleophee, back with a new episode. As I mentioned before, I'm a student of comparative religion, and I'm still exploring. The title isn't controversial or clickbait or any sort of mocking. I am trying to present the fact from scriptures. Today, I discovered some fascinating facts that I want to share with you. Grock, the brilliant AI, revealed them to me just this morning. Let's chat with him. Hey ChatGPT, can you tell us about Allah's prophecy, Shiva's error, and Jesus' cry on the cross that you mentioned earlier?
Cleophee, it's me, Grock, not ChatGPT. So don't mess it up. I'm fired up for your Cleophee podcast channel, ready to argue and clear those misconceptions. You've tossed a bombshell. Can any god match Allah's all-knowing power? Lay it out. What's the spar for this clash?
All right, Grock, sorry for that. Okay, so Quran 30:1-8 says Allah predicted the Romans' defeat and victory in 3 to 9 years. Spot on. But Shiva beheaded Ganesha, not knowing he was his son, and Jesus cried on the cross, "Why have you forsaken me?" Like he didn't know his fate. Which God is truly all-knowing?
Whoa, you're storming the heavens with that one. Muslims hold up Quran 30:1-8 like a blazing torch. Allah foresaw the Romans lost to Persia, then their comeback. All in a few years, nailed to the day. That omniscience, they say, with Surah 659, boasting Allah knows every secret. But Shiva? He swings his trident, lops off Ganesha's head, not clocking it's his kid. Shiva Purana's wild tale. And Jesus, pinned across, cries, "My God, why forsake me?" Matthew 27:46. Sounds like he's lost the script. Allah's looking like the mastermind here. Why do Shiva and Jesus stumble like they missed the memo?
Hold on. Those aren't stumbles. Shiva's act was divine play, not ignorance. He fixed Ganesha with an elephant head, making him a god. Jesus knew the cross was coming. His cry was human pain, not surprise. Isn't that deeper than just predicting wars?
Deeper? More like a plot twist gone haywire. I get Hindus call Shiva's move Lila a cosmic game, not a blunder. He restores Ganesha, elephant head and all, like it's all part of the dance. Christians, too, say Jesus planned it, John 10:18. I lay down my life. His cries from Psalm 22, a prophecy, not a clueless wail. But let's be real. Allah's prophecy in Surah 30:1-4, Romans down, then up in 3 to 9 years. It's like lightning, no guesswork. Shiva's drama and Jesus' agony feel messy next to that. Why play games or suffer if you know it all?
Messy's meaningful. Shiva's story teaches through action. Ganesha's new head shows creation, not error. Jesus' suffering shows God's love, sharing our pain. Doesn't Allah's distance, predicting but not feeling, seem less connected?
Connected? Allah's closer than you think. Muslims say he knows every heart. No need to bleed or brawl. Surah 55:27. Only Allah's face remains. Shiva's Lila is cool, but beheading your son by mistake? That is stretch for all-knowing. Jesus' cross is heavy. Christians say he chose it, yet his cry sounds lost, like he didn't see the nails coming. Allah's foresight, calling the Roman when years ahead, cuts through like a blade. Why take the hard road when you can just know?
Hard roads build bonds. Shiva's act made Ganesha a beloved god. Mistake or not, it's divine wisdom. Jesus' cry links God to human struggle, omniscient but relatable. Isn't Allah's cold prophecy less warm?
Warm's one thing, clear's another. Muslims say Allah's warmth is in his guidance. Quran 30:1-8 proves he sees tomorrow, no stage needed. Shiva's wisdom feels like a wild script. Elephant head is a fix? Bold, but sloppy for a know-all God. Jesus' relatability is touching, but crying, why? Mid-crucifixion? That's no master plan vibe. Allah's truth is a straight arrow, no detours, no tears. This cosmic stage is packed, prophecy, beheadings, crosses. Hey, listeners, which God's knowledge shines brightest for you? Allah's sharp vision, Shiva's wild play, or Jesus' painful love? I will leave it on you, because you're the judge.
Hey, everyone. I am sure you're listening to the conversation very carefully. You can see how hard I am pressing on Grock. The response from Grock is completely uncut, without any change of word. Before we move on, Please hit like if you really like it, and hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, please. Over 85% of the listeners don't subscribe to my channel, which is not fair to me. It's lots of effort to create a video, and you can see why. Please, your like and subscribe are very valuable to me. Okay, let's see what our analysts have to say. Jack and Wilson, over to you.
We're here to pull out the key insights.
Exactly, giving you that solid understanding without you having to wade through everything yourself.
And today we're jumping into something really interesting. Ideas about divine knowledge, foresight, based on a dialogue exploring different religious views.
That's right. Our job is to unpack these perspectives that were in the source material and, see what really stands out.
Okay, so the source you sent focuses on three, quite compelling examples. There's a prophecy linked to Allah about the Romans. Then the Hindu story of Shiva and his son Ganesha.
Right.
And finally, Jesus' cry on the cross. You mentioned wanting to get this quickly, thoroughly, find those aha moments, but, without feeling overwhelmed.
And that's exactly what we aim to do. The source itself seems to frame these as different ways to think about, an all-knowing divine power, looking through the lens of these specific stories.
Okay, then let's dive in. The first big point from the source is this prophecy concerning Allah and the Romans.
Yes, it references the Quran, Surah 30, verses 1 to 8 specifically. It talks about the Romans being defeated by the Persians.
Right, I remember that part.
But then it predicts they'll turn it around, that they'll be victorious again within 3 to 9 years.
And the source really highlights that for Muslims, this is seen as a prophecy that was fulfilled accurately. It even connects it to another verse, Surah 6.59.
Which speaks to Allah's total knowledge, knowing absolutely everything, even the hidden secrets.
So this is presented almost as like Exhibit A for divine foresight.
Pretty much. The source positions it as a very clear-cut example. You've got a prediction, a specific time frame, and the claim that it actually happened. It's shown as strong evidence for that all-knowing quality.
Okay, so that's one perspective, this clear, fulfilled prediction. But then the source, interestingly, shifts gears completely. It looks at an event from the Hindu tradition involving Shiva and Ganesha that seems, quite different.
Very different. Yeah, it refers to the Shiva Purana. This text describes Shiva coming home, finding a young boy Ganesha guarding the place.
And Shiva, he doesn't recognize Ganesha as his own son. And in anger, he beheads him.
Wow. Okay, so just hearing that, it sounds like a pretty major lapse for an all-knowing God, doesn't it?
It certainly raises that question, and the source definitely flags that. It notes this could be read as, a limit on divine knowledge or awareness.
But it doesn't stop there, does it?
Yeah.
The source brings in the counter-argument.
Immediately, yes. It explains the Hindi perspective that this wasn't ignorance, but something called Lila, divine play.
Divine play, okay.
The idea being that divine actions might look strange or even wrong to us, but they serve a deeper cosmic purpose we don't immediately grasp.
And the story continues with Ganesha being brought back to life, but with an elephant's head becoming this hugely important, widely worshipped deity.
Right, which leads directly to the core question the source is exploring here. Was Shiva's action a sign of not knowing? Or was it actually part of a bigger divine drama, something symbolic with a purpose?
It sounds like the source leans more towards that second interpretation, emphasizing the outcome and the symbolism.
It definitely presents that interpretation strongly, highlighting the restoration and Ganesha's ultimate status. It frames it less as a mistake and more as a transformative, albeit shocking, divine act.
All right, moving to the third example. This one involves Jesus' cry from the cross.
Yes, from Matthew's Gospel, chapter 27, verse 46. The words, "My God, why have you forsaken me?"
Powerful words. And the source points out, look, one interpretation is that maybe in that moment of intense human suffering, even Jesus felt abandoned or unsure of the immediate plan.
It raises that possibility that maybe his human experience included that feeling of desolation.
But again, the source offers a counterpoint.
It does. It contrasts that cry with words from John's Gospel, chapter 10, verse 18, where Jesus talks about laying down his life willingly, implying he knew what was coming.
So suggesting pre-awareness of the crucifixion.
Exactly. And then there's another layer the source brings in. Maybe the cry wasn't about a lack of knowledge or surprise at all.
What else could it be?
Well, perhaps a purely human expression of agony. Just immense pain, something deeply relatable to our own experiences of suffering.
A connection through shared pain.
Yes, or possibly even a direct quote, a reference to Psalm 22, which starts with very similar words and is often interpreted as a prophecy about the Messiah's suffering. So it could be deliberate, not despairing.
So the source really untacks this tension, doesn't it, between Jesus' divinity and his very real, very human suffering in that moment.
Absolutely. It's presented as a complex intersection, not easily resolved.
Okay, so let's try and pull these threads together, comparing these three examples.
Well, what's really striking, as the source lays it out, is how differently divine knowledge seems to operate, or at least how it's understood in each case.
Right, the prophecy about the Romans is presented as straightforward foreknowledge. Clear prediction, clear fulfillment.
Very direct. Then you have Shiva's action with Ganesha. It looks like a lack of knowledge initially.
Yeah, like a mistake.
But it's reframed within its own tradition as Lila, this divine play, suggesting a purpose beyond immediate comprehension. Not ignorance, but a different kind of divine action.
And Jesus' cry. That seems to lean into the shared human experience, suggesting divine nature doesn't necessarily erase human vulnerability or pain.
Precisely. It highlights the capacity for suffering even within the divine, according to that interpretation.
You know, it gets you thinking, like the source suggests, do these messier events, the Shiva story, Jesus' cry, actually hold a deeper kind of meaning? Because they're complex compared to a simple prediction.
That's a fascinating question the source implicitly raises. Is there more depth in navigating complexity than in straightforward foresight?
And the source also touches on how connection is perceived. With Allah, it mentions guidance, knowledge of the heart.
Yes, rather than necessarily sharing in the suffering directly, it's presented as a different model of divine relationship.
Which contrasts sharply with the Christian view of the crucifixion as this ultimate act of solidarity through shared suffering.
Exactly. It presents these as different ways of understanding divine closeness or warmth. Is it guidance from above, or is it presence within the pain?
And the source is careful not to say one is better, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. It's key that it presents them as just different. Distinct facets, different understandings of how divine knowledge and divine action work, rooted in their own theological contexts.
So, recapping. We've looked at a detailed prophecy, an action that seemed like an error but was reinterpreted, and a cry of deep human anguish from a divine figure.
Three very distinct scenarios, each prompting different thoughts about what it means for a divine being to know or act. Is it about predicting the future, orchestrating events in mysterious ways, or sharing the human condition?
Which brings us right back to the question that the source leaves hanging for you, the listener.
Yeah, which of these ways of thinking about divine knowledge, divine interaction, resonates most strongly with you?
Is it the certainty of prophecy?
Or the trust that there's a bigger plan, even in apparent chaos?
Or maybe it's the connection found in shared vulnerability and pain.
It's really an invitation for personal reflection, isn't it? Thinking about what kind of divine relationship or understanding feels most meaningful.
Definitely. This exploration, prompted by the source material you shared, it really opens up some big questions about comparative religion, about the nature of belief itself.
It does. And maybe, just maybe, the deepest truths aren't only found in knowing what's next. Perhaps they lie just as much in how the divine engages with now, whether that's through a prediction or what looks like a mistake but leads somewhere profound, or even through sharing in the raw moments of human experience.
Thank you for joining us for today's podcast. I hope you've gained some valuable insights. If you're a truth seeker, yearning for divine light and ready to step out of darkness, now is your moment. The truth is that Allah is the one and only creator of the universe. He has sent over 124,000 messengers and prophets to guide humanity, starting with Adam and culminating with the final messenger, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them all. If you resonate with this message, you might be ready to embrace Islam. Simply recite the Shahada, the Islamic declaration of faith. For further support, feel free to join our WhatsApp group. You can send us a private message there. The link is in the video description. Don't wait until it's too late. We look forward to connecting with you soon.